Um, Right, home man mission. This is a bit of a different venue. You often see me sat in my kitchen, and today I am sat somewhere else talking to an absolute banging geezer. And his name's Lee Drinkwater. I'm not going to introduce him. He's going to introduce himself because, frankly, I've been in awe of this guy all day. So, Lee, please introduce yourself and RV1.
Cheers, Dan. I don't know about being in awe, but it's great to have you here. So we're currently sat at Commando Training Centre Royal Marines, as I'm currently serving in the Royal Marines. But what we're talking about, hopefully, is RV1, which is a community interest company, a not-for-profit community interest company set up in the southwest with its main purpose to rehabilitate the mind through functional fitness, creativity and adventure. It was set up because of some quite adverse and upsetting surroundings to do with suicide. A couple of friends of Tom Merriman, who's the original founder, and myself, unfortunately took their own lives. And we believe that if they got to that state and that end result, and we were feeling how we were feeling at the time, there must be other people feeling the same way.
Yeah.
And we found since then that unfortunately there is an absolute requirement, and the requirement's growing around the country for people to talk, to be engaged with nature, to get some exercise, all the stuff that we know helps with your wellness and well-being.
One of the key points I think which has been really interesting today for me is the bonding and the social aspect. And I know, like, you do something every week more or less, and I wanted to explain how important that social and bonding aspect is.
It's crucial, it's critical, and particularly coming from an environment that I live in and work in at the moment, whereas and as you did when you were in the military, it's absolutely a social environment, a clan-based environment. And to go from any environment like that where you've got like-minded individuals that are pulling together in the same direction with a similar sense of humour, with similar interests, to be pulled out of that into nothing, if you're not engaged with those groups, it's hard to replicate. It's hard to replicate that feeling. So what we're finding with RV1 is just to have a location, and it doesn't have to be a building. It can be anywhere. It can be on the side of a road. It can be on a beach. It can be on the side of a mountain. It can be on a hill. We will meet there, and we will talk, and we will have a group ethos where everyone in there, whether you are stressed, anxious, whether you're suffering with mental illness, whether you're just feeling like you want some exercise, or you're just feeling like you would like to get out of the house.
Yeah.
All of those people in different variations can get together and create almost a clan within a clan. So they may not have the same ambitions or their same interests, but there'll be some kind of common thread that they all get something out of it that helps them increase their mental well-being. And what we're finding is, once we've established that first step, because the first step is always the hardest, right?
Yeah.
Getting people actually there, particular people who are suffering with their mental health, it's a really big step to get people to meet up in the first place. But once we get people there, they then establish pretty quickly subgroups out of that clan. So people might be interested in reading, and all of a sudden they've set their own little reading group up. Some people might be interested in CrossFit, and they're going to do the little CrossFit. And all of a sudden there's little subgroups coming off, and that group then grows. And all of a sudden you've got a spider diagram effect where you've got people coming for a common goal, but then that goal is sort of focused into their own interests, which is really, really great.
So just so clear, so as much as this is about helping our veterans integrate once they've left. RV1 actually, they're come one, come all, aren't you? You can be anybody and walk into RV1, right?
Absolutely right, Dan. So like I said, it's three serving military or former military people who have set up an organisation. Initially, the catalyst was because a serving person at the time took his life, but quite quickly, in the first couple of weeks, it was obvious that women, children in particular, and I'll come back to that point if I may, were absolutely in need of the exact same thing we're trying to provide for the veterans. So as we were going along, we were finding more and more. My wife's actually struggling with a few bits as well. Could I bring my wife along? Absolutely. Oh, absolutely. We've got a 16-year-old who's really struggling with, the social aspect of schooling or out of school clubs. He's really struggling. Won't come out of his bedroom. Do you think we could bring him along? Absolutely. And then COVID hit.
Yeah.
And that, like for society, that change or accelerated everything, where it was far more obvious that the younger generation in particular were struggling.
Yeah.
We're struggling with that, the social anxiety, the stress, how to manage stress, how to talk about their feelings, because they had nowhere to go because we're in lockdown.
Yeah.
So it's open for all shapes, all sizes, all abilities, and will continue to be that way.
Do you know what I liked earlier on about our conversation was when we spoke about certain generations getting bad press and bad hype. I loved the way you explained how different people have a different resilience. Yeah. Do you want to just elaborate on that?
Yeah, and what I'd sort of caveat that with, this is thoughts according to Lee Drinkwater. This is just my opinion on it. After doing quite a bit of research and being involved in the leadership world, including resilience for a while.
Academically, masters, by the way.
Thank you.
Yeah.
But my take on resilience. So what does resilience mean? Well, resilience just means your ability to cope with adversity and how to bounce back into whatever shape or form that means, to carry on in life after overcoming some difficult or adverse conditions. Now, the problem with that, or the issue with that, if you try and categorise everyone of having not enough resilience, like the younger generation get branded, no, generations there, they don't have the resilience. Or you try and put a one-size-fits-all approach to resilience. The resilience or the adversity means something different to everyone else. An example of that is I think we talked at lunch, a mum trying to get her son or daughter ready for school on time, in the right kit, with the right lunch and everything, and all the stress that I've witnessed firsthand involved in that procedure. And I'm sure a lot of people who've got children or they've been through the same. That anxiety and that stress is requiring a significant amount of resilience for the parent involved.
Yeah.
Come to the other end of the scale, where we talk about the military and resilience of combat and how to deal with adverse things that go wrong in combat, things that unfortunately people lose their life in combat.
Yeah.
And managing that resilience is absolutely on the same spectrum, but they're completely different ends of the spectrum. So my point is, to help with resilience, it has to be an ongoing process of how you iterate your life and work towards dealing with adversity, no matter what that is, small or large, going through a similar process, what works for you, which is going to be individual, what works for you, learning that and keep practicing that to become more resilient.
So when you're doing your Saturday mornings, what's the main focus?
The main focus is just being there. So I explain, so the Saturday morning, it's called Sociable Saturday, and we came up with that name because it's about the social aspect.
Yeah.
However, it's an unsociable hour, some would argue. It starts at 06.
On Saturday.
On Saturday morning.
Brilliant.
So sociable Saturday, brackets, unsociable hour. But there's a reason for that. We for the people that we were most concerned about, for the people that really needed someone to speak to, the time to get out of bed was the only point. It was the only reason they got out of bed.
Right. Okay.
Now, those people that wanted to speak to us in the most severe cases of mental health or mental illness, if they weren't given the time to get out of bed, they won't get out of bed all day.
Right.
So it doesn't matter if it's 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock, or 12 o'clock in the afternoon. It doesn't matter. The earlier for better for them, because it's giving them a focus, it's giving them a direction, it's giving them the motivation to actually get out of bed. That's the first step. Get out of bed. For everyone else, they come at different times. So we're there from 6 o'clock in the morning till around 10:30, 11 o'clock.
Wow.
And within that time, we have a social gathering. That's how it starts. And that's probably, going back to your original question, that's probably the main emphasis.
Yeah.
It's all about that social gathering. Everybody just meets, we have a coffee, everyone talks about what's going on in their lives. And that's the bit for me that's just great.
Yeah.
And then there'll be an exercise class in a gym that we're quite fortunate enough to have a relationship with down in Exmouth, CrossFit Exmouth. We'll put a professional gym session on. Obviously, got myself, got Tom, who's a qualified PTI, and we've got the gym owners, obviously, who are quite skilled in that kind of work. And we'll put a gym session on, but it's for everyone. You can do as much, little as you want to, and it's designed that way.
Yeah.
And each person will get something different out of that. So there'll be some kind of exercise. We'll then walk over to the beach, because we're quite fortunate with the area. And we'll go to the beach, and again, for people that want to, we'll do some cold water immersion, and we'll explain the benefits of what that brings.
Yeah.
Breath work, and we'll explain the benefits of what that brings.
Yeah.
So there's a bit of knowledge in there, a bit of learning, but it's also just a group environment. We're all in together. We know it's a bit cold, but and then we'll just have another social aspect on the end, where again we'll reconvene for coffees, tea. There's a few croissants flying around there at that time. But to answer your question, I was long-winded. For me, the social aspect, both prior, during, and after, is the key.
So you talk about breath work. I know this is a big topic at the minute. So, being a man of faith, and prayer's a practice for me, and meditation and breath work is massively important to me as well. What would you say to somebody that's coming into IV when they have some resistance towards, well, what's breath work? What do you often say to that?
I start first and foremost with saying, well, you're already doing it. The last time I sort of looked at you are breathing.
Yeah, that's a good point.
So well done with your breath work, or breathing, whichever way you want to call it.
Yeah,
because you've been doing it since you've been alive, and you're quite skilled at it, by the way. Because you're still here. So that's what I'd say. Because I get your point.
Yeah,
labeling.
I get it also.
Yeah, labeling something. Breath work's a bit.
Yeah.
So my first point is everyone does it, and everyone has been doing it for years and years. It's just sometimes, if you can just learn or just be aware how to control that breathing in different environments, that's all we're talking about. Just being able for you to be in control of your breathing, not the other way around. It will give you the benefits. It will create more oxygen into your vital organs and your brain in particular, and it will give you that control that you're potentially missing in your life. And it's as simple as that. I don't go highly technical. We have got some people that come along to our sessions that are experts in breath work, and they do workshops, and that's fantastic. Oh. But we also keep it really, really basic for the people that just want to learn how to control their breathing in moments of stress, anxiety, or depression.
Yeah. I mean, so if you was to take them elements throughout the entire sort of function of your social Saturday, in that, are we constantly going through where that fits into their everyday life?
Yeah, exactly. So we talk about, let's take the social aspect. So we meet up on the social aspect, and I can guarantee for most of the people that's there, it's the only social aspect they'll have that week.
Wow.
For people, I don't know, that's probably the wrong way of putting it. They'll probably have loads of different aspects, but to have a place where they feel safe enough to talk about whatever they want to talk about, and to have people, a non-judgmental space where everybody will have their own little issues, and everyone's encouraged, and everyone will talk as little or as much as they want.
Yeah.
It will probably be the only time they get the chance to do that in their week.
Yeah.
And then the exercise, we talk about how they feel. Obviously, we have a bit of fun during the exercise. We like to make it fun because I think that's an important aspect to everything. If we can make it all, because when I talk about the social aspect, we don't just sit there with a coffee and go, right, who wants to talk first? There'll be some laughs and we're joking. There'll be sometimes there's some dark humour in there, and there's some dark themes.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's just jovial, and that's fine. And then we go to the sort of the physical element. And when you actually speak to them, particularly afterwards, and say, "How are you feeling?" That real feeling. How are you feeling? I feel great.
Yeah.
Why do you think you feel that way? We could go all scientific and talk about the endorphins.
No, but I like that.
But when we start saying, do you think it could have anything to do with the exercise? Just raising your heart rate up a little bit, or it might be the caffeine you've had this morning. I don't know. But
bit of both.
Yeah, but why that feeling you've got now? Think about that feeling. Think about the journey you've done, the recent journey to get to that feeling point, and you can replicate that. You can continue to do that. And you can continue to feel that feeling. That feeling will be more, become more continuous throughout your life. It's not to say that you're not going to have feelings of, I won't say depression, but feeling down, and that's fine.
Yeah.
By the way,
that's
absolutely fine. But you also, hopefully know why you're feeling that way. You know that it's not going to be there forever, and you know a structure of the things that work for you, how to sort of progress out of that feeling to a feeling what you're feeling now.
Yeah. Well, it's like so I drove here with a lady from the RBL, so the Royal British Legion, Claire Peppiat. She's a very good friend of mine. I brought her up because Lee invited us. I'm very, very grateful. We've been blown away all day. So we were speaking about, the Whole Man Mission has got a scorecard, and the reason why I love scorecards is not because I'm a geek, but I am, is because it gives us feedback, and it gives us that opportunity to listen and educate around the subjects that the majority are getting blind spots in. And the reason why I wanted Lee to talk more about the social aspect is because when we've done the Whole Man Mission scorecard, is most of the blind spots are around not being happy with the amount of contact time they're having with friends and family. Also, unresolved conflict with friends and family. Now, that is a really heavy subject to talk about. I'm sure that might come up at the RV1 as well.
Absolutely. And we're really fortunate within the RV1 community that we've managed to have experts in the field. We had an expert GP, Richard Gorrard, who's based in Norfolk but travelled all the way over to the southwest to give his take on well-being, his take on anxiety, stress, management of all those feelings. And we have psychologists in the group. We have, like I said, GPs. We have physiotherapists if it's a physical ailment that may be affecting the mental health as well,
which happens a lot.
Oh, 100%. I mean,
I've just been in, what's it called?
Hunter Hall?
Hunter Hall, which is what the Royal Marines, where they do the rehabilitation. And I mean, that in itself's come on leaps and bounds.
So Hunter Hall's the main gym, and then we've got Parker Hall, which is the Victoria Cross winner, which is the rehabilitation suite, if you like, which is a fantastic facility, I think. Yeah, I think you'd agree.
Definitely.
But the link between physical health and mental health is talked about a lot these days, quite rightly, but it still staggers me if I'm being totally honest, it still staggers me that we have to almost prove the concept when someone goes, "Oh, but how do you know that? How do you know that going for a walk outside in the in the wind or the rain makes you feel better about yourself?" I mean, quantify it. There is data out there and there is research out there, but it does annoy me that we're continuously having to prove that everyone knows.
And I was really glad last year when there was a paper which was a systematic review of all papers, and it came out, I think it was published by the British Journal of Medicine, or British Medicine Journal, about the fact that now they've come to the conclusion that physical activity must be recommended before intervention of tablets or whatever.
Yeah.
Now that's not all cases, but this is the evidence that's coming out, and I think obviously men of the service and certainly ex-PT, there's been this saying as long as the PT branch has been around is healthy body, healthy mind. Now, and this is going back to what Lee was saying earlier about when he was making the example of the guy or lady that is feeling better while they're doing their exercise and then trying to relate that the fact that they can do that consistently themselves, and that could be one of their self-management tools. And then going back to what we were saying about the whole man mission and the scorecard is that everyone's well-being is different.
Correct.
So different people are going to have different management tools. So some people at RV1 might get more out of the sitting and chatting and having a coffee, right?
100%. And some people just do that, by the way.
Right, okay.
Some people, or they'll vary it. They'll come some weeks and they'll say, "Do you know what? I don't want to do exercise this week. I'm feeling this or I'm feeling that." Hey, fine.
Yeah.
You're here and great to see you.
Yeah.
And there's always a good person in a safe space to go and speak to if required, but we're just here anyway. That's fine. And there's some people that absolutely come for the exercise and exercise only. And they'll, "Do you want a coffee?" No, straight into the field. They'll do the field and leave. And again, that's fine.
Fine, yeah, definitely. Well, look, Lee, this has been an amazing experience, and you are the first person that we have interviewed outside of my kitchen. So thank you, Lee.
So I didn't get an invite to the kitchen.
No, sorry. Well, you will do when you come to Pompey.
Right. Cheers, no, thank you.
But if you want to reach out to Lee Drinkwater, I'm going to give him I'll put his website and the guy's website in the show notes. But thank you very much. Thank you for listening.
Cheers, guys. Thanks, mate.